Hello children. Today we start with a new chapter called as Human Health and Diseases. Now this particular chapter finds this time very relevant because now as we all are stuck at home, we are under lockdown, we are facing a pandemic, and I think all of us are fighting it towards it. This gives a kind of a unity among the humankind, that we are not so weak that we will be let down by any kind of a microorganism. Keeping that tempo in our mind, let's continue with the chapter. Let's start with the chapter actually, Human Health and Diseases. When we talk about human health and diseases, let's discuss what is health and then discuss what is diseases. Let's have a look at it. When we say human health and diseases, what is health? A kind of a definition of health is, it is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. A particular organism cannot be called as healthy if a person is only physically healthy. Physically healthy means a person does not have cold and cough, does not have fever, does not have diarrhea. A person is healthy? No. A person is healthy when a person is mentally sound as well as socially viable. When we talk about mental health means a person should be happy. A person should be having an attitude towards the positivity. A person should have an attitude of problem solving. A person should have a kind of an ability to interact, to talk. All these things come under the mental health of a person. A person who is busy with some or the other thought process, which the person wants to harm other person. Now that is not a mental health. So along with the physical well-being, physical health of a person, mental health is also important. And along with that, social well-being is also very important. Social well-being means a person who is very introvert, does not want to interact with other person. We human beings are social animals and we have to interact with other person. Not too much that keep on talking, but yes, a minimum level, an average level of communication is needed by all the human beings, and that comes under the category of social well-being. So physical health, mental health, or you can attach this thing in a very appropriate way. We talk it as psychological health of a person. Social well-being, that is the sociological health of a person. So this is health. Now when we talk about health, what is disease then? I'm just putting the slide. A condition interfering with the functioning of the body and causes disorder of mind and body. Now this particular definition can be also said in another words, something like this, that it is the state of physical, mental and social ill-being. A person who is not physically okay, the person is having some or the other kind of disorder of the body, or a mental disorder is there, or a sociological problem is there with a person, that person can be called as a diseased person. Now when we talk about health, what are the factors which are responsible for giving a proper health? They are maintained by the following factors. First one, balanced diet. Now balanced diet we have been studying since many years. A diet comprising of adequate amount of carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals and fats. All of them are needed by the body to remain healthy. If a particular person says, okay, I will not have carbohydrates because it will increase my weight, I will not have fats, it will increase my weight. No. Everything which is there in a diet is needed by the body, but in an adequate amount. If carbohydrates are there in the body, they are the energy sources of the body. If you talk about proteins, proteins are the building blocks of your body. If you talk about vitamins, vitamins are needed by the body for various reactions. If you talk about fats, fats are needed by the body for the insulation. If you talk about water, now water is a universal solvent. We cannot do anything without water. So a balanced diet is definitely necessary for a good health. Personal hygiene. Personal hygiene, our human body it harnesses much amount of flora and fauna. We are good nutrient medium for most of the microorganisms, and they grow in our body and they grow on our body. The environment in which we are living, that is full of microorganisms. The conditions in which we are living has lot of, like, either it is too cold, either it is very hot. So all these things affect our personal hygiene. So it is necessary to maintain a hygienic environment around us, and as well as with the body also. Regular exercise, that means our muscles are responsible for the movement of the body. If they are not in a working condition, our body cannot move. The flexibility of the body will be lost. So a proper exercise, again a adequate proper exercise is required. It does not mean that we keep on exercising 5 or 6 hours a day. But yes, a limited amount of exercise is needed. Yoga is a kind of an exercise which brings mind and soul together. So it also helps in increasing the concentration power of the human being. So it is also needed for the good health of the body. When we talk about vaccination, now vaccination for which we can give credit to the mankind. Vaccination is a kind of a process in which we try to prevent the occurrence of a disease in our body. We don't wait for the disease to occur and then go for the medication. Vaccination is something which prevents the occurrence of the disease, and this is done by the human beings only. So nowadays we have vaccines for many diseases, and all those vaccines are given to the small children so that the diseases might not occur in their future life. Proper disposal of waste. Now when we talk about proper disposal of waste, we are talking about social hygiene. Personally, a person is very clean, but the society in which the person is living is not clean. The waste of the society is just lying like that. In that case also, the good health cannot be maintained. So we should have a proper system for the disposal of biodegradable as well as non-biodegradable waste. Controlling of the vectors like mosquitoes. Now mosquitoes are the organisms or are the vectors which carry many types of pathogen. So their control has to be there. Along with the vectors, even pathogens, the organisms which cause disease, they also should be controlled. Otherwise the disease, the spreading of the disease will happen, and that will cause a major concern. Next one, maintenance of hygienic food and water resource. When we talk about food and water, these are some things which go inside our body, and definitely they should be hygienic. So they also play a very important role. All these factors which we are just discussing today, out of which I think apart from that, this vaccination, if you leave it, all these things are very relevant in today's environment, in today's situation in which we are living. COVID-19 is a pandemic, and all these things which we have talked about do hold important position in fighting it out. Personal hygiene, washing your hand. Proper waste disposal, if you are using gloves, mask, dispose it properly as soon as it is being used. Balanced diet, exercise, all these things are needed in today's environment a lot. Probably this thing which I am talking about is theory, and which all of us are doing nowadays because of this pandemic is the practical of this theory. When we talk about vaccination, we have faith in our scientists, and definitely this whole chart will be completed with the vaccination also. So just I'm revising it. How the good health is maintained with the help of balanced diet, personal hygiene, regular exercise, yoga, vaccination, proper disposal of waste, controlling of the vectors, maintenance of hygienic food and hygienic resources. Now when we talk about diseases can be of two types. One type of diseases is infectious disease, another one is non-infectious disease. When we talk about infectious disease which can be transferred very easily from one person to another person. Extrinsic factors means the atmospheric factors are responsible for it. It can be waterborne disease, it can be airborne disease. Such kind of diseases are infectious disease. Personal hygiene and public health plays very important role. That means if a person is not personally hygienic, or the person does not have proper habits, personal habits, that will affect in the infection, in the spreading of that particular disease. Definitely the public cleanliness is very very important for it. This infectious disease is the example which I would like to give is our COVID-19 nowadays which we are facing. In this, that is a highly infectious disease which can be transmitted from one person to another person, and the only thing which COVID-19 we can just defeat it is with the help of social distancing and maintaining the public health and personal hygiene. So this infectious disease is very very dangerous to us, and I don't think so these points we need to understand only because we are seeing it now happening in the society. Another category is non-infectious disease which cannot be transferred from one person to another person, and in this case extrinsic factors do play a little bit role, but the major thing is the intrinsic factors. Non-infectious disease, you can have an example of cancer. Now in case of cancer, what is cancer? It is uncontrolled development or the division of the cell. In this case, the internal metabolism of the body goes wrong, because of which such kind of non-infectious disease develop. Public health and personal hygiene does not have much to do with non-infectious disease, because it is actually the malfunctioning of the human body, and this malfunctioning of the human body cannot be triggered from outside. It happens from inside. Though yes, certain factors, for example when we talk about non-infectious disease, we talk about like diabetes, or we can talk about high blood pressure. So in this case the person's nutrition intake affects it, but ultimately it is the internal malfunctioning of the body when we talk about non-infectious disease. When we are discussing infectious disease,